Okay, you lovely person, you. I was going to do my ramblings this morning when I was out on the run, but my battery was low. I ran out of battery, couldn't do it. So I had my run, and conscious the last time I'd done a video, I had that depressive day, which is going to happen. You know, I couldn't shake it that day, so I did my emergency action, got out for 45 minutes, listened to the podcast. I just couldn't shake it that day. But hey ho, I have to accept that. You can't go from someone who's been 95% depressed to somebody who only gets depression, 5% of the time. So I used to be 95% depressed, manic depressed, suicidal thoughts, to where I am now, which is, on average 5% in the month. The odd time like last year where I had 2 months where I couldn't shake it, which I'll tell you a story about, was when, I met all my goals, my life goals that I'd written down as a kid, and I hadn't prepared for what was going to happen after, and I went into this depression. I'm going to do something about that. But anyway, so a whole day that I couldn't shake, it's going to happen. And anybody who tells you it isn't going to happen is an utter, is living in cloud cuckoo land. The goal when you're heavily suffering through life is to, start with suffering less. It's not to end suffering completely, because it's not possible. It isn't possible. It just physically isn't possible. And if anybody's giving you that advice that it is, then steer clear of them. Just steer clear of them. So I sat down after my kind of bad day, and I kind of had time, because I was on holiday, I had time to reflect, and I thought, I'm going to reflect here. Nothing to do with the time of year, new year, anything like that. It was just a time to reflect. So that's what I done. I chose to reflect. By the way, go Jags. Need to win tonight to win the division title into the playoffs. So I had a reflection, and I realised that I'm unhappy about my weight. I'm above 13.5 stone, and I'm unhappy about my alcohol consumption. Now, the other day I done a rant about alcohol, and really what I'm ranting is myself. I don't get drunk a lot, very rarely, once every 2 months if you are lucky, right? But I casually drink, and December's always a tough month. I've had 2 sessions this month, taking staff out, and I've got drunk. And the consequences of that means 4 or 5 days of, just surviving mentally, physically, not doing my exercise, things like that, then try to run the business. So it's just, I've 2 weeks out of my being myself. And that's my own fault. And the other thing I had to look at is the casual drinking a glass of whiskey every night. And people say, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. If you don't think there's anything wrong with that, that's fine. For me, it's a problem, and it's stopping. So I've just come back from holiday. I'm now in rainy Motherwell, and I've stopped drinking, and I'm having to change my diet. When you run your own business, you've got all these plates spinning: family, kids' activities, your own health and fitness, you're trying to eat healthy. Then there's 4 plates which are business. And they're the 4 plates you tend to keep spinning while the other ones are trying to fall off. Then you run over and fix them. So, my kind of diet, although I've been doing my training, my diet and possibly my reading, trying to keep myself reading and up to speed, and my knowledge has took a little bit of a hit. So, back to the diet, and back to, I'm going to lose 2 stone. And folk, when you say to folk, you're not fat, you're not overweight. The only people that are telling me that are fat people, right? Fat, that's what my fit friends aren't telling me that. They're saying, how much are you going to lose? I'm going to get your fair play, build some muscle. Yeah, I get it, totally understand. It's crap, isn't it, being overweight? Yeah. So one of the things that's got me going at the minute is this whole, the woke culture. I'm left wing, or I'm right wing in some things, left wing in others. I'm not as stupid enough to be pigeonholed into the one thing, but so many people are. Oh, I'm left wing, or I'm right wing, and that's the problem with politics. The left can't agree with the right can't, because it's identity politics. Sometimes the right come up with great ideas and say great things, and sometimes the left do. I like to kind of think, where am I going with that? Anyway, this whole woke culture, and one of the things about this body positive nonsense is physically dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous. Just as dangerous as thinking that everybody should be a size 8 skinny model, which is, I absolutely agree, is super dangerous. But running about saying that, oh, I'm so proud to be fat, I just am who I am, you're not doing anybody, yourself or anybody, any favours, because you are going to get heart disease. You are going to feel unhappy. Maybe you won't, but I'm going to bargain on that you are. And I'm not fat. I feel the fat on me, and it makes me unhappy. So I'm getting rid of it. I eat out too many times. We eat on the go just because of the way the business is. So, we've had to just wind it back and keep it simple. So just eat. The dinners aren't a problem for us. We get a thing called Mindful Chef, which is a healthy meal that's sent to us every night, and we cook it. So that's not a problem. It's the snacking during the day, snacking at breakfast, snack at lunchtime. So it's very easy for me to fix. You just have porridge with some nuts, some berries. And I'm just going to have that every day till I get the discipline. Oh, that may be boring, that's boring. It's not about being boring, and it's not about being complex. Oh, you need to be a chef, and it's so complicated. It is complicated. There's so many people out there that make this complicated, and you think you can't do it. Just going to have porridge every day for 2 weeks, because what I'm trying to achieve is the discipline of doing it. I want to get into the discipline of eating healthy. And then for my lunch, I'm going to have what I've got is a Huel, Huel, which is like a kind of meal you put it in water and you shake it. Oh, it's not healthy, it's not healthy. It's better than eating sausage rolls, all right? So simple. 2 meals that I've substituted are going to keep it very, very simple. And I'm only going to go out for something to eat once a week. We were working out that we were going out 3 times a week, which is a massive calorie intake, and it's not good, and it's made me feel unhappy. So I'm making a change, and I don't believe in this body positivity because it doesn't make me happy. Simple as that. And I don't care what anybody, you should be pretty. No. There's 2 girls that I follow on YouTube and Instagram who really inspire me, and they were 2 big girls, 17, 18 stone, and they believed in all this body positivity crap that's going about, but they just felt miserable inside. Then they thought, like, everybody tell me about this body, really it's just a sly way of telling me I'm fat, which it is. It is, in my opinion, it is. So basically they went and done something about it. And what I particularly like about these girls is they've got themselves down to this fighting fit weight, and they're helping others. But these girls portray their whole life, how vulnerable they are. They burst out crying about how hard it was to get there. They burst out crying about how tough it is to stay the way they want to stay. They burst out crying because of all the trolls that just say, that troll them, all the jealous folk that can't do it, or, don't want to, or don't have the ability to help people that they're helping. They're out there giving them hell, and they show it and they cry about it, but they never forget where they come from. They just don't want to go back there. That's what drives me forward. That's what makes me suffer, intellectually suffer through my business, to secure my family, suffer when I go out for these runs. That's what drives me, is because behind me there's a massive abyss. It's a massive abyss of depression, suicidal thoughts, and I used to live in there. Now, occasionally I fall in there and I've got to climb back out, but that's what drives me forward. Now, I'm not perfect. Like these girls, I'm not perfect. I might get something right in my life, and then another part falls away. I'm going to get that. And that's what I'm trying to do in these videos for myself, is to remind myself I'm not perfect. I'll have a problem here. Last year, I went into a 2-month depression, and it was because I hit all my goals. That was a nightmare to live with. I was back to where I was 20 years ago. I was panicking. What am I going to do? I just had to realign things. That's what I'm doing here. My body weight's making me unhappy, and my diet's making me unhappy. My consumption of alcohol is making me unhappy. So I'm just stopping it, and that's it. That's just how it works. The rant I had about alcohol was more about me. I do think alcohol just brings the worst out in us. But where I live, it's just a habit. Everything revolves around about. Let's meet. When you go to a meeting, people drink alcohol. When you go to a family party, people drink alcohol. Birthdays, kids' birthdays. You go to a kid's birthday and they're serving alcohol at a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, but people drink alcohol. So it's my responsibility. I'll rant about my alcohol consumption. It isn't good. Drinking a whiskey a night, 2 whiskey a night, isn't good. 500 calories right there. Cutting out the crap that I eat, like chocolate, it's about 300 calories. So that's what I'm going to do. You know, don't believe in the body positive stuff. Believe in how your body makes you feel. And if you enjoy being large, then fine, so be it. But don't moan about it. And, you know, if you start becoming unhealthy and have heart problems, then, you know, don't moan about the waiting list on the NHS, or you can't get seen by this, you can't get seen, your insurance premiums go up. You've got to take responsibility for that. Just like you've got to take responsibility, just like, you know, we've got to hold companies accountable for making me all think we need to be a size 8. We've also got to hold people accountable who think it's okay to walk about being grossly overweight. And, you know, it's not about making somebody feel bad because they're grossly overweight, but it's not about telling them that they look great and they're healthy. You know, we don't want to set a society where we just lie to people. So yeah, so that's where I'm at. Great run today, getting after it. Yeah, so good. Have a good one. Speak to you later. Love to my kids.